My name is Tiffany, and I am the Outreach and Communications Coordinator with Citizens for Prison Reform. We want to thank you all for joining us and welcome you to our Prisoner Family Advocacy 101 web series. For the first installment of this series, we are going to share important introductory information for those who have a loved one entering the prison system or who want to learn how to become stronger advocates. My brother, he was incarcerated for 17 years and was recently released. Throughout my brother's sentence, we learned a lot of hard lessons. Frankly, we wasted a lot of time consumed by our emotions. We were frustrated, confused, and really feeling hopeless and angry. But I learned that our emotions can become a barrier that can prevent us from being able to advocate for our loved ones. And instead of letting those emotions hold us back, we can actually use them as fuel to become stronger advocates. And that's why I think that this information is invaluable to help teach people how to become advocates and what they can do. So I'm excited to share this with you, and we can get started. All right, so before we get started, we wanted to let you know a little bit about Citizens for Prison Reform. At CPR, we believe in the power of family. We know that family support is vital during incarceration, and families are the cornerstone of a successful reentry. This is an overview of some of the things that we're going to be discussing in today's webinar. Throughout the guide, you will see QR codes that you can scan to connect directly to a website or a resource. You can use this feature by launching your camera app, frame the QR code, look for the notification banner at the top of your screen, and tap the notification to trigger it to connect to the website. So if you do not have this feature available on your phone, you can actually use a scanner app that can be downloaded in the App Store, and that will allow you to scan QR codes or even screenshots of QR codes. And if you cannot use this feature, that's okay. You can. We have all the websites listed throughout the guide. So first, we want to start with reception and guidance. When a loved one enters prison, they are sent to the Reception and Guidance Center for the intake process. So we will share some tips about what to expect and steps that families can take to support their loved one during this time. When prisoners go to the Reception and Guidance facility, they receive a variety of psychological, medical, educational, and security classification evaluations. And they also are, basically the average length of stay while they're at reception and guidance is 30 to 45 days. At this time, families can place funds in the prisoner's account along with their phone accounts. Visitations are not permitted usually during this time, so they can stay in touch with phone calls. You can also take time to familiarize yourself with the MDOC policy on issues such as visiting, prisoner property, and prisoner funds. Okay, so the MDOC's website, we recommend that you familiarize yourself with the Michigan Department of Corrections website. You can find the website at michigan.gov/corrections. There you will find important information such as policy directives, the prison directory, and the family information packet. They also have an anonymous contact box on the MDOC website. With any questions and concerns you may have, you can actually submit them anonymously on the MDOC website. The Family Information Packet. This can be found on the main page of the Michigan Department of Corrections website. And by CPR, Sharing Family Stories with Legislators, it was required that the Michigan Department of Corrections create the Family Information Packet and include it on their website as a resource for families. Now we're going to go over the OTIS Tracking Information System. OTIS will allow you to locate a loved one, find information regarding charges, sentencing, or parole conditions if they have been released. Next, we're going to go over prison policies. It's important to understand that prison policies, you can find a complete list of the Michigan Department of Corrections policy directives online. All prisons are required to follow the established policy directives, but the operating procedures at each prison may vary. And this is the website where you can find a complete list of all policy directives. You can find all the directives there, and these policies can be used for reference, for advocacy, and to help you or your loved one better understand their rights. For example, an important policy that you may want to review is policy 03.03.130, and this is the policy on humane treatment and living conditions for prisoners. On the MDOC website, you can also find the prison directory. This is a complete list of all the prisons within the Michigan Department of Corrections. JPay and Access Secure Pack. This is how you send electronic mail, care packages, and money to your loved one. Here we have the process of sending mail. You can find more information on the website here. All right, how to stay connected, telephone calls with loved ones. Telephone calls are so important to help us stay connected to our loved ones. So we're going to go over some of the options that are currently available for phone calls. This information can be found in the Family Information Packet on the Michigan Department of Corrections website. Video visitation is coming soon in 7 pilot prisons they've announced recently, which includes Women Huron Valley Correctional, the G. Robert Cotton Correctional Facility, Chippewa Correctional Facility, Richard A. Hanlon Correctional Facility, Ionia Correctional Facility, Newberry Correctional Facility, and the Duane Waters Health Center. The Michigan Department of Corrections has recently announced that they will be launching these video visits in the pilot prisons listed, and they expect this service to be available by October. This is something that CPR has definitely been advocating for, and we want to see this be used throughout all the prisons within the MDOC soon. All right, next we're going to go over the visitation process, policy, and tips. So everyone must complete a visitor form. That form is CAJ-333 before they can visit. You can find a complete list on the website of all the visiting process. This is the application that needs to be filled out prior to being approved on your loved one's visiting list. You can download it by visiting the app here or scanning the QR code. Here are some important things to consider before visiting your loved one. I really want to touch base on this first one. Am I prepared to make purchases from the vending machine during my visit? Which cash denominations do I need to bring to purchase a prepaid vending card and photo tickets? Please ask the facility in advance, as the rules do vary. Some facilities may want you to put money on a card, a vending card there. You may need to bring a combination of singles, you may need to bring quarters, you may need to bring just a different variety of cash denominations. So it's certainly important to ask in advance. In my experience, this is one of the golden rules prior to visits. On the day of, prior to visiting your loved one, make sure to call and make sure that the visit will be allowed. Sometimes things come up, you never know when they're going to be denied a visitation, and there's nothing worse than driving all the way out to a facility to visit your loved one and having being told that you're not able to visit. So always call on the day of prior to the visit. We also want to let you know, for anyone that has lost visits for a prolonged period of time, please contact us. This is something that Citizens for Prison Reform is really passionate about, helping families who have lost visitations, as we believe in family connectedness. So please email us if you have lost visits at micpr.org@gmail.com. Or you can visit our website and fill out the contact us box. All right, next we're going to share information about the grievance process and the American Friends Service Committee and MyCure's advocating for the incarcerated in Michigan guide. All right, this is the grievance process. Here you can download the form so you can have a better understanding of the process of filing a grievance. This document was created by the Family Advisory Board in 2015. In CPR's resource guide, you will find our, also we'll be able to find our list of policy, the policy directive, on grievances. So you can visit the website here or use the QR code to find the policy directive on grievances, so you can have more information on that. The process of a criminal appeal. SATO has an incredible guide. It's called the Information for Family and Friends of the Recently Incarcerated. They have information about how to, the process of the criminal appeal. And one of the most important things to note about the appeals process is that you have 42 days from the date of sentencing to file a form. So to find out more information about the appeal process, check out SATO's Information for Family and Friends of the Recently Incarcerated Guide. You can also reach out to SATO if you have any basic legal questions. And here, by visiting the website or using the QR code, you can actually download the application right here. So in order to obtain a copy of a prisoner's medical record, you have to submit a form. The form is CHJ-121. It's important to note that you need to submit this medical form if you want to have access to your loved one's medical records, or if you want the MDOC to be able to communicate about your loved one's medical conditions or treatments. So you should complete this form, and it's also important to note that this form needs to be submitted annually. So once a year, you need to resubmit this form. By using the link here, you can download the form automatically. Recipient rights. So when receiving mental health services through the Michigan Department of Corrections, prisoners are granted certain rights under the Michigan Mental Health Code, as well as policies and procedures set forth by the department. As a prisoner or guardian/family member, it is important for you to be informed and understand those rights and what to do in a situation when you feel those rights may have been violated. If you have questions or concerns regarding your rights as a prisoner to mental health services, please contact the rights specialist, Sarah Haydens, and we will provide her contact information. This is the recipient rights complaint form. You can use this link to download the form, or the QR code to download as well. This is the contact information for Sarah Haydens, the MDOC recipient rights specialist. By using the website link here, you'll be able to find a list of information about recipient rights as well. Important contacts that you need to know. When you have a loved one who is incarcerated, it's important to stay connected and know who their MDOC unit contacts are. We suggest that you identify the name of the contact information for the case manager and ARUS in the event that your loved one needs you to advocate on their behalf. It is advised that your loved one advocate for themselves whenever possible, but under certain circumstances, it may be necessary for family to get involved. Always remember to be friendly and respectful whenever speaking to MDOC employees. You can call the prison your loved one is housed at and ask the names of these individuals. The Advocating for the Incarcerated in Michigan Guide has also has some great and helpful hints to consider when reaching out to MDOC contacts and advocating for your loved one. One of the most important tips that they have that I've seen was document everything. So write down the names, the times of the people that you spoke to, and always, just remember to keep your emotions in check. Another important contact is the ombudsman. Using the website here, you can learn how to file a complaint with the Corrections Ombudsman. This is the contact information for Keith Barber, who is the Legislative Corrections Ombudsman in Michigan. If your incarcerated loved one has a disability and you feel that their rights are being violated, please contact Jen Baker with the Michigan Protection and Advocacy. Michigan Protection and Advocacy is a private, nonprofit organization established to protect and advocate for the legal rights of people with disabilities in Michigan. Visit their site for more information. All right, so here we're going to share some of the resources we mentioned. These advocacy resources can be very helpful tools for families. Here you can download SATO's information for family and friends of the recently incarcerated. And here you can download the Advocating with the Incarcerated in Michigan Guide by American Friends Service Committee and MyCure. And Citizens for Prison Reform, our resource guide you can find here. Citizens for Prison Reform's resource guide, a lot of the documents that we mentioned or sites that we mentioned, you can also find in this guide. Here we want to share a message from Brandon McLeod about the importance of family support and advocacy.
Hello, my name is Dr. Brandon McLeod. I'm an assistant professor at Jane Addams College of Social Work at the University of Illinois, Chicago, and I'm honored and grateful to work in solidarity with families, advocates, and supporters of Citizens for Prison Reform. I hope you don't mind me sharing how I became passionate about these issues and imparting why I believe the work you do is critically important to social justice. Various experiences, both personal and professional in nature, brought me to work on criminal justice related issues. Growing up in Philadelphia until adulthood, thereafter living in Baltimore for 14 years, and working in Baltimore and Washington based nonprofit organizations have contributed to my perspectives about criminal justice issues. On a personal level, I witnessed law enforcement come to my family's aid when a close family member became a victim of community level gun violence when I was just in middle school. Yet, on the other hand, I also experienced unnecessary and excessive use of force by Washington Metro Police after relocating to the area upon graduating from college. Moreover, as a father, raising 2 Black teenagers, and as a social work researcher dedicated to social justice, I believe I am called to transform the justice system. These incongruent personal experiences, combined with incessant police-driven murders of Black people, continue to ignite my perspectives related to community mistrust and law enforcement. On a professional level, my social work career has led me to work with individuals and advocacy coalitions on important policy issues related to the justice system. These experiences included running groups for women and men in correctional facilities, providing case management, client advocacy at the court level, as well as legislative advocacy. 2 of my most meaningful professional experiences occurred just 2 years before moving from the East Coast to the Midwest in 2016. This included working with a grassroots organization in Baltimore called Out for Justice, which is comprised of members directly and indirectly impacted by the criminal justice system who advocate for the reform of policies and practices that adversely affect successful reintegration into society. To this day, Out for Justice continues to advocate for similar issues as Citizens for Prison Reform. Second, I learned about how critical family involvement is in the lives of individuals who are incarcerated when I began co-facilitating fatherhood groups at a federal detention center. On a weekly basis for about 3 years, my colleague, Dr. Jeffrey Greif, and I worked with and learned from fathers about their experiences growing up, how they endeavor to raise their own children, and ways they support their children's caretakers and families despite being incarcerated. One of the most striking things I learned was that fathers were not allowed to have physical contact visits with their children unless they completed this particular program. And this practice moved me to explore through research ways in which correctional facilities serve as systems of social control through their visitation policies and practices. Yet research suggests that infrequent physical contact and engagement with the outside world while incarcerated not only affects those who are incarcerated, but also perpetuates social and economic disadvantage among their children and families. Parental incarceration is one of several adverse experiences which often contribute to trauma. And for incarcerated parents, contact with their children and family members serves as a fundamental social support function in the short term by reducing social isolation while reaffirming their parental identity. In closing, I want to emphasize that Citizens for Prison Reform's mission to engage, educate, and empower people affected by crime and punishment is critically important. Not only because this social justice mission is the right thing to do, also because research evidence supports the work you do. Therefore, be confident in your mission. Continue to be a resource and continue to advocate at all levels. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.
Hi, I'm Lois Polano, Executive Director of Citizens for Prison Reform. We have started this new webinar series that will have multiple topics over the coming months. Our goal here is to create strong advocates. Often, when families come into this system, they feel like they've been fed to the wolves. I know all too well. I experienced it myself. Our goal is to create change agents, to empower families, to work to hold this system accountable so that they will provide rehabilitation and not continued punishment. We know that our loved ones need all the help that they can get while they're inside so that they can come out as stronger individuals, ready to be productive citizens in our communities. We hope that you will continue to join us in the coming months, and that if you have suggestions for further topics, that you will contact us through our website and offer those to us. Please invite other families. Please share these webinars on your individual Facebook pages, creating watch parties, and reach out to other families. No family should have to take this journey alone and remain isolated. Now is the time to band together for us to bring change together as families of incarcerated. Thank you.